So today, Martin, me, is sitting in front of two different wallpapers, and I'm actually in my hallway, so that it might sound a little bit different. So over here, I've got the kitchen. Behind me here is the living room, and I'm looking out through my patio windows, and I can see that the security light has gone on outside, so somebody's been to the bins or somebody's arrived home in their car, endlessly curious. But I've positioned myself thus because today what I'm really thinking about is throwing off the shackles, getting rid of unnecessary emotions that I've been procrastinating over, indulging too much. But the thing is, what you will ultimately realize that when you start to examine things, not even necessarily that closely, what you will find is over time, layer upon layer upon layer of bullshit has kept you from the real purpose while we're all here on the planet. And that in itself is a very, very long process. But what you realize is with each person that's been in this flat, as an example, they've put their paper down and then somebody else has arrived and thought, oh, I don't need to remove a layer. I'm just going to put this over the top of it because this was the wallpaper, and you can kind of date the different schemes because this was really, really popular. The building was built in 1986, and this is probably the original wallpaper. And then this comes much later. It's more decorative, but it's layers upon layers, and you won't be able to tell here, but on top of this paper is the lining paper, and then it's this. And there's a huge part of me that just wants to take a couple of days and rip it all off. But the thing is, when you do that, when you act in a really desperate and hasty way, you actually end up with a lot more chaos and drama than is necessary. And you have to live in a more chaotic way. Now the thing is, this sounds like making an awful lot of excuses, but I'm using this as an analogy because the thing that I need to do, we can talk about taking off wallpapers and redecorating things, but the real crux of the situation is, in order for me to become more independent, I need to actually really knuckle down and start promoting the coaching business that I am offering. And there's a huge amount of apprehension, there's a huge amount of uncertainty, and a huge amount of doubt still. But each week, each fortnight now, that I speak with my own therapist and I uncover more of the emotions that I've been embroiled in, and I start to get more honest about those things because I've had a real difficulty in admitting certain things to myself. And in various sessions with my therapist, he's asked me the question, well, do you feel angry? Do you feel rage? And the truth is, yes, I do. I also feel a lot of frustration. I also feel a lot of resentment. And the thing is, it can be very, very easy, and I think we all do it to a certain extent, to label ourselves as bad people because we feel what we call bad emotions. But for me, the conclusion that I keep coming to is that the purpose of emotions is not to actually define who you are as a person. It's to signal who you can be and how you can live. You're never going to get over anger if you don't admit that you're angry. So acknowledgement is always the first step. And then what happens is, I mean, I certainly experienced this, and I'm sure that I'm not alone in it, that once I've acknowledged these things, that I feel angry, that I feel annoyed, that I do feel resentful about various things, I will then feel tremendous amounts of guilt for doing that. Because the emotions are, they're not subtle, and they're not mild or light. They're very, very heavy. And I know that we will go to any kind of lengths to cover up these emotions rather than admit that we feel them. And yesterday, I recorded a video on the 1 year anniversary of having given up alcohol. And it's something that I am really pleased about, something that I'm really proud of myself for. But the thing that doesn't really get talked about as much as it should is that once you've actually removed said medicines, like alcohol, like drugs, crime, all these different addictions that we have, well, the thing is, relationships, we can become addicted to anything to mask other feelings. Well, the thing is, once you've actually removed the poison and you're left with all the emotions that you've been avoiding for a long time, and scenarios, situations that you wish you'd made more progress on, that you're left with having to deal with that with absolutely no way of hiding from them. And it can feel quite bleak and quite frightening, because once you've given up the alcohol or whatever drug it is, for me it was alcohol, in huge amounts, you've lost any way of making excuses. You've lost the bandage, and the wound is exposed. And I've given up the alcohol, I've managed to do that. Well, this situation that I've been avoiding, whatever it is, there's no excuse for me now. I am actually capable of doing things, you will tell yourself. And you're then presented, with a huge mountain to climb. You've stripped all the layers off, and you have to carry on the analogy. You have to start shaping your life the way that you really, really want it to be. And often we find ourselves thinking, fuck, what the hell is that? What do I really want to do? Am I allowed to do it? Will I get into trouble? And that's when the desire to start acting in your own destruction, that can start to rear its ugly head again. Which is why I believe it's absolutely vital to ask for help. And I've benefited enormously from working with my therapist, and I know that I will be of tremendous support to people who are going through this as well. But you have to start by admitting all of the things that you felt. Otherwise, they're just going to start controlling you in other ways that you hadn't foreseen. And people can spiral down very, very easily. I think we all feel a lot of rage, but we also feel tremendously isolated. We feel alone. But the truth is, we're not. But what it does require is that you have the willingness and the openness to actually put your hand up, say, hello, I need some help. And we also believe that that makes us a bad person or a weak person or a failure. It doesn't. Please do observe the people who say, oh, that's just really weak. Look at those people. They're not having a great time of things, people. They're angry, and they're drunk, and they're fat, and they're unhealthy, and their relationships are shit, you know? Don't take advice from people whose lives you would not wish to live. Start to think about what it is that you really, really want, and start to actually imagine a scenario where there's somebody that could help you to actually get there. That's what I'm offering, and I'm in the early stages. I feel like I've been in the early stages for a long time, but things do take time. We do have to be patient, but we do also have to start walking. And it's up to you, entirely up to you, what you do with your life. But I'm here to tell you that you can make your life great by starting to ask for help.